What's good, gamers? Akalon here. Today's going to be a bit more of a talking head video because I'm super excited. Brand new WoW book was just announced. We're going to go through the preview. We're going to do lore speculation, as you know I like to do. And towards the end of the video, we're actually going to have a conversation about Galakrond, because I wanted to do this video yesterday and I had this entire thing planned out. Discussions around Galakrond, because there are a number of things that do not add up that I'm starting to piece together. So for all of that and more, stay tuned to the end of the video. Let's address the giant elephant in the room. We want the story in the game, not in the box. Even Steve the Newser acknowledged that in the past they have gone too far. But, and there are caveats to almost all rules in life, there are certain stories that work better for certain medias. Stories like The Dawn of the Infinites, for example. You could not tell that story with that level of depth and immersion in World of Warcraft. In games, certainly, but not in World of Warcraft in its set genre and how most of its players wishes to engage with the content. This book appears from the preview to deal very much with thousands of years ago at the outset of Dragon Aspects, the Incarnates and how they were formed and how the war started between the Incarnates and the Aspects. This is something that I think makes sense for a book. So that is why I'm excited. Now let's get into why you should be excited. The book is called War of the Scaleborn. Awesome name, and it's available for pre-order right now on Amazon. Blizzard has an official post, a preview of the book, and it reads as follows. Delve into the world of dragons from before the events of World of Warcraft Dragonflight. In this exciting prequel, a new light will shine on the story of the War of the Dragons and the impact it's had on the very future of the Dragonflights. When the world was young, all life shook before the might of Galakrond, a massive primal dragon whose hunger could not be sated. 5 primal dragons rose valiantly beside the Titan-forged keeper Tyr to combat this threat. Though the fight was desperate, Galakrond fell by their teeth and talons, and they were chosen to become protectors of Azeroth. The Titans gifted Nosdormu, Ysera, Elektraza, Malygos, and Naltharion with order magic, transforming them into the Aspects, powerful dragons with command of time, nature, life, magic, even the earth itself. Other primal dragons followed them on their path, and imbued with the Titan's power, the Dragonflights rose to shape the world and serve the Aspects. Right off the bat, this piques my interest in a massive way, and this is just the preview. We know how the Aspects came to be. The question has always been, what about the flights? So it appears as if all primal drakes were given a choice. They could side with the Aspects and accept order magic and thereby become dragons, or, as you'll see in a minute, they could side with the rebels and become proto-drakes. So also, by the way, 3 definitions of dragons. The primal drakes, how they started, the proto-drakes, which are not the same as the primal drakes, and then the dragons. Very cool. That is the tale the Dragonflights have always told. But it is not the whole story. Interesting how the Dragonflight seem to keep a lot of secrets and a lot of things hidden, much like the Keepers. For while the Dragon Queen and her flight set to reshaping Azeroth, not all dragonkind sees order magic as a gift. Spurning the Titan's interference, a group of rebel primal dragons drink deep from the elemental powers of the planet and are reborn as Incarnates. Led by Galakrond, the Incarnates believe that dragonkind should be subservient to no one. They foment a rebellion against the Aspects, what they are, and all they stand for. As you can see here, more definitions and more clarity about the definitions. Primal dragons, dragons that emerge. I have a theory on that one, but we'll get to that at the end of the video. Proto-dragons, the primal dragons that drank of the elemental magics of Azeroth became proto, and then dragons which accepted order magic and became dragons. So an interesting little triangle that forms there. This exactly the method in how the Incarnates were able to consume this elemental magic raises an interesting question and perhaps answers an interesting question about the Djaradin. Now, the elemental magics of Azeroth is controlled by the elemental lords, and they don't like sharing, just FYI. The Djaradin exist purely to kill dragons, both Proto and Primal and Dragon. They want to kill everything. But how? It is said that the elders of the Djaradin burrowed deep within Azeroth and there discovered a source of power. They emerged with an incredible expertise over fire and earth, most likely gifted to them by Ragnaros and Therazane as an answer to the 1, stolen power of the proto-dragons, and 2, the acceptance of order magic by the dragons. The elemental lords are not fans of the Titans. The Titans, in fact, imprisoned them inside the elemental planes, so the Djaradin is the weapon of the elemental lords. Perhaps, despite the efforts of the Dragon Queen Alexstrasza and her primal friend Vernoth to preserve peace, both sides slip closer to violence as dragons are forced to choose a side or be swept up in the growing conflict. With battle lines and allegiances drawn, the war amongst dragonkind shakes the foundations of the world. Both sides realize they will have to make sacrifices to secure the future of their kind. Sacrifices that will cascade through the ages. We have had plenty of discussions about deals that was made, sacrifices now in the preview. Both sides apparently making these sacrifices in order to secure their fundamental victories. It's going to be very interesting to see that Alexstrasza Vernoth. Remember, I've told you guys before, Vernoth appears to be the one primal dragon or incarnate that doesn't share the hatred of Farak and Iridikron. She appears to be more hurt about something that may have happened, and perhaps that is one of the sacrifices the book infers. Alexstrasza perhaps did something to chase Vernoth into the arms of Iridikron, when in reality, Vernoth was trying to, perhaps, find a way for the Incarnates and the dragons to coexist. Another very interesting thing here is the Primal Incarnates wish to undo the influence of the Titans. Coincidentally, so too did Deathwing. After Deathwing fell to the madness of the old gods, his fundamental drive, his purpose, became the unwinding of the interference of the Titans. In fact, he goes so far as to say that the Titans did something and they will pay for what they had done to Azeroth. This is in Dawn of the Aspect when he's talking to Thrall deep in the earth of Azeroth. Another interesting one is Murazond. Upon his death, he says, Amanthul, what I have seen. Those are his final words as he dies. Perhaps there is a point to all of this. Perhaps what we think the Titans did, perhaps what the Titans claim they did, isn't the full story. The fact that you have 2 dragons, 2 order-infused dragons, both turning against their mandate, turning against order in order to set things right, highlights a potential future problem that will have to be dealt with. And finally, as promised, Galakrond. Now, how did Galakrond become corrupted? We are told in Dawn of the Aspects that Galakrond had traveled. They did not expect Galakrond to travel as far as he did, and he discovered something. And that is what led to his corruption. But that's not true. That has never made sense to me. And the reason it's never made sense to me is because of Koros. Now, many people will not know who Koros is, especially if you did not read the book. Koros led a small band of primal drakes to ally themselves with Galakrond. And they effectively said, in their own sort of limited intelligence, Galakrond gets strong by eating protodrake. We eat protodrake, we get strong. So they cornered a small red Primal Drake and consumed him. Malygos were on their trail at the time, and when Malygos discovered this corpse that had just been consumed, he caught a saint. And the saint was that of Galakrond, except Galakrond wasn't anywhere near. What he was smelling was Koros and the other Primal Drakes after they consumed the Red Drake. That is what led to Galakrond's penultimate decay influence, was the consumption of the Primal Drakes. That has been my working theory for a long time. And in the interview with the Lost Codex, the game developer actually confirmed this. The question to the game developer was, the magic or the essence that is siphoned out of Galakrond looks like void essence. Is it okay to infer that Galakrond's essence is in fact void? And he answered and said, no. Yes, Galakrond did drink of the corrupted waters of Yogg-Saron, but his actual decay stuff comes from consuming the primal dragons, not so much from the drinking of the Yogg-Saron waters. This leads me to a very interesting question. What are the primal dragons? To answer that question, we first have to ask ourselves, what is decay? Where is decay? That's a big question for me on this channel, and I think I have figured it out. Decay is natural. It is everywhere. And while all of the elemental planes are represented by elements, as well as an elemental lord, yes, even spirit, even though it doesn't have an elemental lord, it is represented on Azeroth. Azerite, souls, these are all signs of spirit. But decay is all of it. And if the natural flow on Azeroth is consistent, it would suggest that even the elements have a natural flow. As air flows, it eventually ends up in the realm of decay, meaning the realms of decay is an amalgamation of all of the other elements. The logic that I have arrived at. Galakrond drinks from the waters of Yogg-Saron. Yogg-Saron reveals a truth to Galakrond, a truth that Galakrond then acts upon. Galakrond consumes his first primal drake. The consumption of that primal drake would ultimately awaken something within Galakrond that he did not even know he possessed himself. He would become the very nature of decay through that which he consumed, an elemental of decay. This would mean that the element of decay has been in front of our eyes literally since the beginning. It is the dragons, it is the proto-drakes, it is the primal drakes. Their birth is said to have been inside the realms of the elemental planes, and they had escaped the elemental planes before the elemental planes were locked up. But what if it wasn't planes so much as plane? They were born where all of the elements amalgamate. This would give a whole new reason for the elements to be angry at the Titans. A whole new reason to despise the Titans from the viewpoint of the Incarnates. Now, I'm not saying I am correct, but that is my current working theory. That, of course, is simply my opinion, and I'm sure you have yours, so let me know in the comment section down below. If you enjoyed this video and you want to see more videos like this one, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, smash that bell. It does help out the channel a ton. And then, of course, to all of the YouTube members, the patrons, and the Twitch subs, thank you so much for your monthly contributions. It does mean the absolute world to me. For $1 a month, you can gain access to absolutely everything. Simply click the links in the description down below. Ladies and gentlemen, for more content like this, click any of the videos on your screen right now. And as always, be kind to each other, be good to each other, and I will see all of you in the next one. Peace out, fam.